Okay, good afternoon. My name is Jessica Perea, and I live here in Dunfermline, Scotland. It's near Edinburgh, and I have 4 children. My husband is Gabriel. He's a pastor, and yeah, I'm excited to be here with you guys. I'm the director of our Adventure and Pathfinder Club, and I hope you'll enjoy the Ladybug honor.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Jessica, for that. Once again, just to welcome everybody who joined from all across British Union and also other unions as well, and the conference mission field. We welcome you all. This is your home as well. And we're gonna just bow our heads and pray. And so let us bow our heads and pray. And we're gonna start with our award. Now, dear God, thank you so much for the time we can be together. Thank you so much for opportunity for all of us to meet through in this way. We ask that you pour the Holy Spirit on everybody who is in this group here in Zoom and also on Zoom and on Facebook. And we pray a special blessing for Jessica, who will be teaching this honor to all of us. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Amen. Amen. Jessica,
All right.
it is your time. So whenever you're ready, you can share your screen and we are starting.
Okay, here we go, guys. Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes, we can. Yes,
Okay.
we can.
All right, so this is the Ladybug Award. And I don't know about you guys, but I love God's creations. So I'm really excited about it. Here we go.
Jessica, just before you start, people will notice already that that accent is not a Scottish accent. And you live in Dunfermline, Scotland. Can you please tell us how come you got such a good American accent in Scotland?
It wasn't with practice. My family is, they were Scottish immigrants to America. And so I am born and raised in Texas.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. And now we're going to go for this. Requirements.
All right. So the first requirement for the Ladybug Award is to learn about the ladybug, different facts, different characteristics, so you understand how the ladybug lives and what it looks like, etc. The second requirement is to describe the ladybug's life cycle. So from the time the eggs are laid until its death, and we'll talk about that. And then you're going to make a poster of all that you learned about the ladybug life cycle. Number 3, we're going to talk about ladybug's colors and spots or their designs. And number 4, you're going to make 2 ladybug crafts. Why 2? Because you're going to get to share one of them. So you can keep one and then you can share the other one.
That's beautiful. Jessica, just for everybody who was watching, sometimes Zoom puts the screen of the presenter in the top right corner, and sometimes people do miss on the first requirement because they don't see it really well. For everybody who's using Zoom, you can actually move that screen, just to let you know, so you don't have to worry. For those who are on Facebook, we are sorry, but well, maybe you didn't miss, maybe you missed a little bit of that. But Jessica, would you just repeat the first requirement again? Learn.
Sure. The first requirement was to learn about the ladybug in general.
Excellent.
So different characteristics.
Thank you.
Here we go. All right, and let's talk about the name. So ladybugs have a scientific name. It sounds similar to the French name for ladybug, and it's Coccinellidae, which is Latin, and it means scarlet. Okay, well, it's similar to the Latin word for scarlet. And all around the world, we have different names for ladybugs depending on what language we speak. And you can feel free to post in the comment section if you speak another language, what ladybug, how ladybug is said in your other language, okay? But why ladybug? Where did that name come from? Oh. So ladybug has a few different names, even in English. So in England, the name ladybird was originally called Our Lady's Bird. Why? Because at that time, starting with the Middle Ages, Catholicism was growing, and they named ladybugs after Mary, which was Jesus's mother. And in the Middle Ages, why Mary? In the Middle Ages, Mary was always painted with a red dress on. And because of that, they thought of the because ladybugs are cute and small and pretty, and in honor of ladybugs, what they mean, they named the bug after Mary, Jesus's mother. And so another part of that is that the most common ladybug has 7 spots. And also in Catholicism, there are the 7 joys of Mary and the 7 sorrows of Jesus. Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. That's my phone. Okay, there we go. Other names in English would include lady clock, because it's a circle, lady beetle, and we'll talk about why, lady cow, lady fly, and ladybug. Now the lady cow one is kind of funny. If you want more in-depth information about that, you can look it up, but it doesn't actually have to do with a cow. So I wrote down a few 4 different languages what ladybug means, and the first one is Little Mary in Spanish, Mariquita. German is Mary's bug. Russian, God's cow, and in Hebrew, Moses' cow. Okay. Do we have any any comments?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We have somebody said, not too far away from what you mentioned already, Jessica. We have in Poland, they're saying ladybird as well. I wish I can read in Polish, but my Polish is a little bit rusty. Well, majority of them would go with the ladybird. That's right.
Okay, very nice. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so I have a question. What day did God create ladybugs? Was it the first day, second day, third day, fourth day, fifth day, sixth day? It wasn't on Sabbath, right? So what day do you guys think? You can put a comment on there. I'm going to give you a few facts first, and then we'll do a voting, okay?
That's right.
Okay, so there's a debate amongst Christian theologians or theologians, different realms of thought. And one of them is that ladybugs were created on the 5th day, because some Bible scholars translate Genesis 1, the verses of Genesis 1:20, it says winged creatures, okay? And so they say ladybugs they have wings, so they were created on the 5th day. But other theologians say, no, ladybugs were created on the 6th day with land animals and creeping, crawling things. And then others say, no, insects, gross. They are a result of sin. They weren't created on either day, okay? So here are a few facts to think about before you vote, all right? So on the 5th day and the 6th day, the Hebrew word for creatures or creations is nephesh, and this means flesh with blood or animal, okay? Now on the 5th day, it doesn't actually say winged creatures like some translations say. The Hebrew is winged fowl, and a fowl means bird. So, and then in Genesis 7:14, when we talk about Noah and the ark and the animals, it also mentions birds, okay? Now on the 6th day, we have Genesis 1 again. And then it says in Genesis 1, verse 24, 28, and verse 30, it says, and creeping thing, every creature that moves upon the earth. And then Genesis 7:14, it says creeping thing again. Now, for those who say neither, they say neither because, well, bugs don't have flesh with blood, and the Bible never specifically says the word or a word similar to insects. So what do you guys think?
We're gonna have the voting later on. If that's right, people can put it in actually in the chat rooms. Which day? Many people are saying 6th day, at least here in a Zoom. I'm just checking that. Well, there is on the. It is very interesting, Jessica. We have on a Zoom we have a 6th day, only one 5th day, but on Facebook we have a more fifth day than a sixth day. So I guess we'll have to come to conclusion in the end somehow for this. Yes.
Okay, so we'll hold off on our voting and I'll update you guys on another fact about that after we vote. Okay, so let's look at the ladybug body parts. Right here, we have the head at the top there. Now you can see my two ladybug pictures. The ladybugs look slightly different, don't they? Yeah, so the head, and then they have antennas. Now, if it was a close-up picture, which we'll see in a moment, you'll be able to see their mouths as well, but that's part of their head. Then the eyes, okay. Then we have the pronotum. The pronotum is right behind their head. It looks like their shoulder area, if you would, but it's just the part right behind the head, okay? Because insects, they have three sections in their body. They have the head, and then the pronotum, and then the abdomen, okay? Now, on top of the abdomen is actually the whole section below the red hard shell, okay? And on top of that, this red shell has a special name. It's called the elytra, okay? Then how many legs do you see on there? Can you show me with your fingers? How many legs do you see on the ladybugs? All insects have the same amount of legs. That's how you know it's an insect. How many legs do you see?
No, it's a very good question. We can also ask people to post the number in the chat rooms. This way we can count. Make sure you don't miscount the lines which point to different body parts.
That's right.
Yeah, so Jessica, you tell us what they are saying 6 legs everywhere, it looks to me.
If you said 6, then you are correct. 6 legs. And on top of the elytra, you have a different amount of spots, okay? And we'll talk about the spots later. Now, underneath the elytra are their wings. They have very thin but strong wings. So their wings are hidden under that plastic shell, or not plastic, sorry, underneath that hard shell. Isn't that cool? Okay, so we're going to continue. Now, for the first time, because of technology, we're able to see ladybugs, what they really look like. And here's a picture from National Geographic. And it's showing that they're studying the inner workings of the ladybug's wings. How do they fold up and fit under there and then unfold and be thin enough to fit, but strong enough for them to be able to fly? Okay. So there's a picture.
This is my first time to see ever the wings in this perspective. They look a little bit like a foil, like a silvery foil. Am I right to think that, or maybe the picture is just showing a little bit differently?
Maybe more like a film, kind of like plastic film. You'll see it's quite clear. Okay.
Oh, right.
There you go. So scientists are creating artificial wings and an artificial elytra, which is the shell, and they're trying to see how exactly it works because they're really marveled by it. Okay, isn't that cool? That's like an X-ray of what it would look like, but this is actually an artificial wing. Okay, this is showing if you took off the elytra, that's what it would look like. Okay. Now, there are some websites that I'm going to give you that you can go on YouTube and you can look and watch see what ladybugs look like taking off flying in slow motion. But I'm going to show you a few of the pictures here. So we'll just go in a sequence. So they spread out their wings, and if you see at the tips of their wings are still folded up. They haven't popped out yet. They straighten as they go. Now the wings are straight. and the ladybug is getting ready to jump off. And look what it does with its legs. It spreads all 6 legs out and makes them flat. They look a little bit like a flying squirrel taking off. Okay, there's another angle of a different ladybug. He hasn't quite spread out his legs yet, or her. Okay, these are 3 videos that I recommend. There are many out there, but these are 3 of them that are really good. National Geographic, the Dodo, and PCO. Okay. All right, so let's talk about different types of ladybugs. Now, in North America and in the UK and Europe, the native ladybug looks different from the Asian lady beetle. There are a lot of facts about ladybugs that are misunderstood depending on what country you've lived in and where you're currently living. For example, some people might say ladybugs are harmful, and then someone else might say, no, they're helpful. And that depends on what kind of ladybug you've been exposed to, what kind of ladybug you've seen. So the ladybug that's harmless, that helps eat garden pests, that lives outdoors and stays outdoors, and is really good for the environment and actually helps your plants grow, is the native ladybug. And if you look at the pronotum, I'm sorry, Dan, were you about to ask something?
No, I was just listening. So you're saying like that the different places would have a different ladybugs.
Yes, that's correct. So if you look on their pronotum, which is right above the red shell, you see on the ladybug on the left is black and the white spots are on the sides, but it's solid black in the middle. There's no drawing or design. Now the ladybug on the right, it's called an Asian lady beetle or a harlequin beetle. And the harlequin beetles have what looks like an M. Can you guys see the M? Raise your hand if you can see the M on the back of the beetle. Are they able to see it? Yeah, not everyone yet. Raise your hand if you can see the M shape on the back of the Asian beetle. Yes, all right. Okay, so these kind of beetles actually are a little bit aggressive. So they are known to kill other ladybugs and helpful bugs, okay? They also can be harmful to dogs. They can bite them, but they don't usually, but they can. They also invade homes and they have a very foul smell. They leave behind a little bit of their blood, which is yellow. And when they leave that yellow blood behind, it smells horrible. And they can even stain people's walls if they invade the home and get into the house. You might see a wall that has like a yellow or discoloration behind the wall. It might be that there are ladybugs trapped in the wall, okay? Now that's the harlequin or the Asian lady beetle, okay? Uh-oh, there we go. Now, here we're going to look at the UK ladybugs, all right? So most of the UK ladybugs, the most common is the one with a red back and 2 black spots. That is the very most common ladybug. The second most common is the 7-spotted, I believe. Some said 7, some said 9. But here at the top left, you'll see the 7-spotted ladybug, okay? Now, if you look at the comparison, there's one picture that has an ant beside it. If you haven't seen a ladybug in person, I think most of you probably have, but if you haven't, they are very small. So they're smaller than an ant, okay? All right, so those are if you live in the UK, you can keep an eye out for all of these different types of ladybugs. Now, there are even more than in the picture. There are actually over 100 different patterns, okay? Now, that's just here. There are over 5,000 different types of ladybugs in the world. If you live in North America, I know a lot of North Americans are joining us. Then we have the nine-spotted ladybug here on the left. It is now an endangered species. Do you know why? Because all of the invaders, the harlequin Asian ladybugs, have been eating them or eating their food supply, and therefore they're starving because they're a little bit smaller and a little weaker, so they can't defend themselves as well.
Are
So
you
now they're an endangered species.
are you
Yes,
saying that they're endangered species in United States or
and in the UK.
and the UK? Oh,
Yes.
it's very interesting. I did not know that, by the way. Because I know that we have some invading species from other places, which are kind of stopping other species here, but I did not know about ladybugs.
They were brought to North America in the 1970s on purpose, actually, and they have now almost wiped out the native ladybug population. And they were brought to the UK in 2004, and they are now the majority of percentage of ladybugs that you would find will be the Asian beetles.
Wow.
Okay, the one in the middle is called a parentheses ladybug. Do you see the parenthesis in the back? You can see the top of it has more like two lines mixed in with the spots, and that's supposed to be the parentheses. That's the middle picture. Then the picture on the right is the most common ladybug that you'll find in North America, and it has the two lines at the top, which are called, it's a convergent ladybug, also because of the lines. But if you notice, none of them have an M on their black, on the, oops, let me show you, on the UK as well. None of them have the black M, except here, the number 2 has a black M for the UK, which is the two-spotted one, which is the most common. And then down at the bottom, on the left, that one has a black M, and the others do not, okay?
Jessica, just somebody posed a question. Maybe you know the answer, maybe you don't know the answer, because the question is a little bit difficult, I think. Somebody's asking, do we know the reasons why the blood of the ladybugs is yellow? And also somebody says that they saw quite a few of the Asian beetle ladybugs actually close to their house. So do we? You should not be alarmed. The ladybugs will not take you out. But I just want to ask: do you, by any chance, know why is the yellow color, or because I think it's quite a technical question.
So, but I don't know, have an exact answer. But if you study insects, like look at different insects, most of them have blood that does not look similar to human blood. So a lot of insects have a yellow or greenish type blood. Okay.
Excellent. For everybody who does have a questions, you just post them in the chat rooms and we will feed them to Jessica. And if we know the answer, we'll give it to you. If you don't, we'll just say, listen, Google it or dig deeper.
Yes, that would be a great question to Google if to get a deeper response.
All right.
For the other question was about they have a lot of Asian ladybugs near
Yes.
their home. Okay, we're going to talk about that a little bit later. What to do if you do have the Asian ladybugs? Should you kill them? Should you get rid of them? Should you welcome them? Okay. Now, I'm saying that they're the invaders, and we're kind of making them sound a little bit negative, so to speak, but they are still lovely little bugs that you can play with and not to be scared of, okay? All right. So are there any poisonous ladybugs? No, there are not. That is a myth. There are no poisonous ladybugs, okay? Now, we say some people say that they're poisonous because they can be poisonous to other creatures like other bugs or to some birds, but they will not be poisonous, for example, to humans or larger pets, okay? Let's look at the life cycle. So Ladybug, can you guys see the arrow when I move it on my screen? Or you just see the screen?
No, we can see your arrow as well. We can see it.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So here we have the eggs, and we'll take a closer look at those. Their eggs are small, yellow, and they are laid in clusters, in groups, okay? Then they start to, I'll show you, but they develop a shell, and from the eggs, they turn into what's called the larva. I don't think that those look nearly as cute as when they're full adults, do you? Then from the larva, you have the pupa, and we'll talk about this little shell that's coming off and the ladybugs coming out underneath it. And then after that, the adult ladybug is born. This is a baby ladybug or a young ladybug. And as you see, it's all yellow. Then there's the adult ladybug, and then they reproduce, okay? So here's an example. I wanted you to see how small the eggs are compared to this. Can anyone type in a response and guess what this is? This big red thing beside the eggs?
All right, we are waiting for the answers. Yeah, somebody said match. Are you sure it's match? Somebody says a shoe, a matchstick. Yeah, no, I think that.
Oh, they're so smart. Look at you, adventurers. You're so intelligent. That is correct. That's the end of a match. So that's a match head. That means those eggs are very, very small, aren't they? Now they lay their eggs on the back of leaves, as you can see in the picture. After those little yellow eggs, after they hatch, then they look white. The eggs look white, and there are the baby ladybugs. Okay. Then as it grows, it's right here. It's the larva and the pupa. Okay. Now let's look at these close-up pictures. So this is the ladybug eggs. Here they are. They start off as tiny yellow eggs. Then a predator shows up. What kind of predator do you think that might be? It's actually another ladybug. You can't see it very well, can you? But that is another ladybug trying to eat those eggs. I bet you can guess which ladybug.
Yes, we can.
The Asian ladybug, right?
Yep.
So then look at this. It's so miraculous looking. So out of these eggs, we have the baby ladybugs coming out. Look at their little arms. Isn't that interesting? Now, some of them are still yellow. They're not erupting. Do you know why? Because the mother purposely doesn't fertilize all of the eggs. Okay, the adult ladybugs don't fertilize all of them, so that when their babies are born, they have a little snack waiting for them. So they all smell the snack, and as they come out of the eggs, they rush towards the unfertilized eggs, and they're having their first meal. Okay. I know they look a little bit creepy right here, don't they?
Yes, they do.
But just wait, they get cuter and cuter. All right, now there aren't that many snacks for them, not that many unfertilized eggs. So as quickly as they can, they go to look for a garden pest, something that if you found in your garden, you would definitely want to kill. They eat everything. They kill plants and flowers, vegetables, all of it. They're called aphids, aphids, aphids. And ladybugs are the main natural predator of aphids. They can eat 54 in one day, okay? They eat over 5,000 in their lifetime. So the ladybugs are very helpful. So they're eating the aphids. Now, this is day 18. They're starting to look even grosser than before, in my opinion. Okay, now here the larva is popping open and something else is coming out and they're shedding their skin. Okay, now it's the pupa. Now this hardened shell right here, after the larva shell is gone, it has a new shell, the pupa. But still, this isn't the permanent ladybug shell that we see. So it's getting ready and they're growing. Then what happens? If you look right here, the ladybug is starting to come out from the shell. It's breaking it open and it's emerging. It's like it had a little mask on. This one down here is almost completely out of its shell. So you see, here it's coming out, and now this one's completely out and its shell looks brown now. This one is coming out and stretching out its wings. And this orange one, it still hasn't come out yet. That's why it's that color. So the shell starts off yellow, and then as time goes by, as days go by and it's growing, it starts to turn red, or whatever color the ladybug is going to be. Okay, we'll talk about different colors later. And so as it turns, then the spots appear after that. Okay, the red color and the spots are what tell the predators that it would not taste yummy. Okay.
So in other words, just because KFC has a red, red bucket, just want to make sure, guys, it not necessarily will taste good. By the way, guys, somebody asked the question about why do they eat their brothers and sisters? But if I'm right, they don't. They eat just unfertilized eggs. Is that right, Jessica?
Yes, they don't eat each other. They only eat the eggs that did not become anything.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. I can
Okay.
tell you that quite a few of the viewers found the sections from lava quite tough to watch, but there is a hope, and the hope is that something which is not so good looking becomes very good looking, I would say.
That's right. That's right. It's just like us. Once we get to heaven, we're going to look so much better than we do now. Okay, so here you have a ladybug that's now an adult, and it has a lot of spots. And so some people think the more spots they have, the older they are, but that's not true. The number of spots doesn't have anything to do with how old they are. Some ladybugs are different colors. See, depending on what species of ladybug, remember there are over 5,000 species. Here's a yellow ladybug. There are blue ladybugs. There are black ladybugs, orange, red. And what color? Looky here. We have a green ladybug with black stripes. So some people wouldn't even know that that was a ladybug if they saw it.
Jessica, somebody is asking, as you are going through the ladybugs, do ladybugs have bones, or how would you describe the?
So because they're an insect, they have their exoskeleton, their hard shells, but they don't have bones like we do. No, they're like hollow shells.
Yeah. So in other words, that is what keeps them together. That's what I need to know. Yeah.
That's right. Otherwise, they're just squishy on the inside. Okay. So by day 50, you have your adult ladybug, and that ladybug is now eating and can lay eggs. But at day 50, they spend the next 30 days just eating. So from day 50 to day 80, they stuff themselves. And then once it gets cold, did you know that ladybugs hibernate just like bears? So they hibernate in the wintertime. And as you can see, you have several different species all huddled up together here for the winter. Now, when they hibernate, they turn their, let me show you. I don't have a picture of this, but they tuck in their legs. And if you've ever seen a dead bug where their legs are just kind of stiff and folded, that's what ladybugs look like when they're sleeping. So chances are, if you find a ladybug between November and April, or November and March, and its legs are all tucked up and it's not moving, it's probably just hibernating. It's probably not dead. This is day 330. Now, can anyone put in the comment section how many days there are in a year?
It's a very good question. Also, as they're doing the typing in the chat room, some people are asking because they're eating a lot of food, do they actually drink water? Do we know that?
Oh, I do not know that. I assume that they get their fluids from the insects that they eat
So
and
they're
the
eating
plants.
insects. Also, somebody asked, do they eat other ladybugs? And you said yes.
Depending on the species. So
Species.
UK native ladybugs do not, but the harlequin or the other name is the Asian lady beetle, though they do.
And the answer everywhere, which everybody got right, is there's 365 days, 365 days in a year.
Oh, you guys are so smart. So if you see, this ladybug is almost 1 year old. So when it gets warm, the cycle starts all over again. Okay, so most ladybugs live for about 1 year. Some ladybugs who are extra strong and healthy, they will live up to 2 years. Okay. Now, we looked at the life cycle in detail, but here are two different fun ideas for you to make your own life cycle poster. You can make one circle and have the cycle, and then you can take another circle and put it on top with a pin of some sort, and you can cut out a section and rotate the top paper to make a little wheel. Or on the right, you can just make a page, like a one piece of paper, as big as you can find, and you can draw the different ladybug cycles. And here are some simple drawings to kind of, so in case the other pictures were too detailed for you. Okay.
So Jessica, just for everybody to make sure that they understand this clearly, so this is a part of the requirement for them to achieve the award, is that right?
Yes, and so once you're done, please email your pictures to Dan,
Yep.
and he will post them, and we will get to see everyone's life cycle posters.
That's
Okay.
right. So in case you missed it last week, we had a pizza award for pathfinders. And so everybody was sending us the photos, and we would make a collage of the pictures, and then we would share it on our Facebook. So make sure that when you complete this section, you actually do send us the picture, because we would like to share it on the Facebook. At the same time, it is good for you to have it as a record. So when you submit your award to your club director, they'll be able to say, "Oh yeah, I can see you completed this." So we're going to post my email address in a chat room, and just in case. And please make sure that you write it down and email me. And by Tuesday, we'll compile them all and then publish them on Facebook.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan. Okay, so a few facts. I'm going to give you 5 facts about ladybugs that some people might be confused about. Number 1, they're not all ladies. Okay, some ladybugs are males. So there are female ladybugs, which is this slightly bigger one, and the male ladybug is slightly smaller. Now you can tell that these are Asian ladybugs here in the picture because of the M on their back. Okay, it looks similar to an M here. Okay. And now, if you picked up a ladybug, would you be able to tell if it was a male or female? Most likely not. Even the scientists have a hard time telling them apart, because you would have to have a for sure female beside it in order to compare it with the male. Otherwise, they could just be different ages, or one could be a slightly larger male and a slightly smaller male. Okay. Fact number 2, they're actually not bugs, they're beetles. So ladybugs are part of the beetle family. And how can you tell a bug from a beetle? Well, I put this little picture up here for you about insects. So this first one has a sponging mouth. This one has a siphoning mouth. And this one has the piercing, sucking mouth, like a mosquito. Okay, this one has chewing. All right, now if you see the difference, these 3 all have straw-like mouths. Okay, that's the definition of a bug. But ladybugs are beetles because they have mouth parts they actually have their chewing mouth parts, okay?
Yes, somebody is Jessica asking the question. If they're beetles, why they call them bugs? Of course.
Right. That's a good question. They actually should be lady beetles, not ladybugs.
But
Okay,
as a lot of things in this world, once they get a name, it is very hard to change, I'm assuming.
that's right. Oh, well, and here in the UK, we call them ladybirds, and they're definitely not birds.
Definitely not birds.
All right. Fact number 3, they are not all red with spots. So here is a different variety, just one picture. I've shown you a few others already. But see, you can have black ones, you can have yellow. Like I said, there's green, blue. Um, some of them have stripes. Some of them have diagonals stripes, like the parentheses. And they have different shapes, okay? But most of them are either spots, stripes, and you can even have a ladybug that doesn't have either, or neither stripes nor spots, okay? Oh, there we go. Now, fact number 4, they go into hibernation. And we're going to talk about this hibernation. Here in the first picture, you can see they're curled up inside a dead leaf. In the second picture, they're preparing for hibernation. They're eating a lot of little bitty aphids and adult aphids, helping our gardens not to die. And then this is an example of where ladybugs might congregate, where they might group together to sleep for the winter, okay? So they love old brush piles, or they might somewhere warm under a rock or something, okay? So some people say, oh, ladybugs are a pest. They come and they get near my door jamb and they fall in the door when I open it, or they're in the corners of my house outside, or I have a deck and they're trying to creep into the cracks, okay? What do you do if you have these ladybugs? Should you call the exterminator? No. You know what? These ladybugs, they're not going to harm if they're native ladybugs, they will not harm your house at all. If they're harlequin ladybugs, they might smell, but all you have to do, if you don't want them around, you can take maybe a shoebox or a matchbox, and you can just carefully scoop them into your box. They're asleep, but some of them will wake up if you're not gentle. And you just carefully scoop them into a box, and you can take them and you can put them into a brush pile, okay, where there are a lot of leaves and where it would be warm and safe for them. Or an even more fun and better idea, I'm going to show you what to do with them. You can make a ladybug hotel. So if you've ever seen a bug hotel, this is where all your little pesky friends can go so that you can enjoy them and you can enjoy your home and they can enjoy their home, and you don't have to worry about getting into each other's homes. So here is a bug hotel that you could make out of toilet paper rolls. I think some of you might have extra toilet paper rolls because you've been stocking up lately.
That's right.
So here is an example of a home that you could build out of cardboard and toilet paper rolls, okay? And then here in the bottom right, it shows that you can use things like rolled up newspaper, you can use leaves and pine cones, and several bugs will make a home in your bug hotel, okay? Now that's just one style. Another option is to have a hanging hotel. So you could use a milk carton or milk jug. Here's an orange juice jug right here. Here is a soda bottle. And you can use pine cones and twigs. You see, this is what it looked like before. And then they tied it together and hung it, okay? Now this person rolled up newspapers. I will tell you, rolled up newspapers are a really, really good idea for your ladybug home. Some of these other homes will attract other bugs as well, and that's fine, because you want to be you can have a bug sanctuary, and this will actually keep your bugs away from places that you would not want them. Okay, and just remember, if you kill the ladybugs and you kill all of the helpful bugs, then your garden will just fill up with bad bugs that will eat everything.
That's right. Also, Jessica, just a little encouragement to everybody when it comes to bug hotels. They don't get populated very quickly, if I'm right. So,
That's correct.
yeah, so when you make one and you don't see any bugs there, first of all, just to let you know, maybe you don't see them because they don't want you to see them. That's number one. But number two, it takes sometimes a long time to get the hotel populated, and then you can
And
charge the rent.
that's right. Thank you, Dan. And if you, to add on to that, if you keep touching it and messing with it, then the bugs will stay away because they see it as the unsafe area. Okay. Down on the right-hand side, you'll see an example of the corrugated cardboard. They just rolled up cardboard, and then you can stuff some things inside, but it's still, or you can just leave it, and they will fill up those holes, and it gives them a nice place to hibernate. Okay. All right, what else can you do? One of the best things you can do, even more so than a ladybug hotel, is to record what ladybugs you see. So if you write down the date and where you live and what kind of ladybug you found, you can either take a picture or you can draw it. It's going to help the people who study wildlife and different species, the conservationists. It'll help them see if there are any native ladybugs left, how many are left, and what we can do to make sure that both species survive. So I looked for a worldwide one and I couldn't find one, but the North American is called the Lost Ladybug Project. Now, I believe if you live in other parts of the world, you could also send them your data. And then here in the United Kingdom, we have the UK Ladybird Survey. Okay, when you're researching UK ladybug information, you will get better results if you write ladybird. Okay, but if you want information for the rest of the world, your results will be better with ladybug. And the last fact is, the spots are to warn predators of the stink and the bad taste. Okay, now, do you see anything about the spot pattern? This is like a double fact. Do you notice anything about the spot pattern? It's the same on both sides. It's a mirror reflection, okay? So if you have 8 spots on one side, you'll have 8 spots on the other side, exactly the same pattern, okay? Now, ladybugs do have some predators, not an extensive list, but we do have a few. So here, the most,
just to add on the topic, just a short announcement for everybody who's watching here in Zoom and also on Facebook. We're just asking for chat rooms to be used really for the award topic. So the questions, like for example, which Jessica is going to answer about the predators, we just want to ask if it's possible, keep the discussion focused on the ladybugs, and please don't share too much of your personal information there. We want you to be safe. We don't want any predators to be taking your age or whatever it is. So make sure the parents and guardians, you're as close as possible. We are almost finishing this. So Jessica, it's your time, yeah.
Okay, so here we have the predators, and there are birds such as martins, swallows, swifts, and crows. They all eat ladybugs. And then also there are a few other bugs that eat ladybugs. One of them is dragonflies. This is a dragonfly in the second picture. This is a spider that's eating a ladybug. That's less common. Assassin bugs, parasitic wasps, and also ants will eat ladybugs. There are also different parasites that will slowly infect and disease ladybugs and tree frogs. Okay. So your last requirement for this honor was to make 2 crafts. And remember, what are you going to do with one? You're going to give it away. So here are some ideas of some ladybug crafts that I thought were extra cute. Some of them you can hang in trees. You can make finger puppets. You can put it on a piece of paper and make some of the wings fold up, flip up. You can make it out of a paper plate. You could make a ladybug bean bag to toss around. You could make a ladybug. This is out of a bottle cap or an egg carton. You can do either of those. This is from a toilet paper roll. And this one is made out of your hands, okay? Oh, and those are the requirements. One more time if you want to see them. And I will show you two crafts that two of my 4 children made, 2 ladybug crafts in a minute. You can see what theirs looks like. And that is it. Those are all the requirements. So if you guys have any questions, and I know we're also going to do the voting. Would you like to do the voting first, Dan?
Oh, I think that, let me just, I don't actually have that result yet. So Jessica, you tell us, what do you think is the day when God created them?
So it is, in my opinion, the 6th day. And the reason for that, let me go to my screen, sorry. I didn't mean to take the PowerPoint presentation off.
No, that's fine, Jessica. So it is a 6th day. Once again, for everybody who is doing the craft and who is doing the life cycle of the ladybug, we would love to have that. So make sure the parents, guardians, young people who use phones really well days, which is a little bit worrying, can make sure to take a pictures and send it to my email, and we will share that beautiful craft that you made with everybody else as well.
So,
yes.
Oh, sorry, Dan, go ahead.
No, it's you.
Okay, so the reason it should, I believe it's the 6th day, and I think you'll agree, is the 5th day. The Hebrew is actually for fowl, even though it says winged creatures, it's talking about fowl. And the 6th day says creeping things. And I don't think neither is an option, because I think you would agree with me that God created all of these wonderful and unique creatures, that they were definitely not by accident. And they definitely all have a very good purpose. Many of them have a lot of benefits to our ecosystem. So let me show you the ladybug crafts my two of my daughters did. I'll do the stop sharing. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, let me see if I can find you guys on my computer. Okay, can everyone see me?
Yes.
So one of my daughters, Saren, she made a Erilyn, she made a ladybug finger puppet. And you guys can do this and put on a little show. There's ladybug songs that you could sing. There's one here in the UK that's a couple of 100 years old that you could learn. And then this one is for my 5-year-old, Madeline. And she did her handprints and glued them together and just cut everything out. So we would love to see your ladybug crafts as well. And do we have any other questions or comments?
I think that Jessica, that's pretty much, there is a few questions, but I'm just trying to find them. If it's once again, can you please once again quickly summarize the requirement for the Ladybug Adventure Award, just in the bullet points? So we said, if you're able to do that for us.
Sure. Number 1 was that you need to know about the ladybug, the characteristics such as body parts, how they grow, what they eat, etc. So know about the ladybug. You need to know the life cycle and draw a poster of it. You need to make 2 crafts and share one. And the third requirement, which is, I'm listing 4th, sorry, I went out of order. The last requirement is a question. You need to know about the colors and if they all have spots. So are all ladybugs red with spots? No. And you can write down what you learned about that.
So altogether, it is not very difficult award, but it is a very beautiful one. Thank you, Jessica, for teaching us so much. What we're going to do at the moment, Jessica, I'm going to go to gallery view, and I'm going to just ask everybody if it's possible to give a big clap to Jessica. I'm going to unmute everybody. I'm used to that. So thank you very much.